Welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia, and with me today we have Brandon.
Hello.
And Nick.
Hi.
I'm sorry I did it in backwards order, Nick. I don't know why you're upset.
I know, it threw me off.
He just got confused.
Threw me off. Yeah, I was like,
And we're going to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
Yeah, games. Actually, mostly games this time. I think everything, at least on this list, is game related. So you got all that.
Yeah.
I have Xenoblade 3 to talk about. So
yeah.
That's new and exciting. You guys finally played Live Alive. The Mario Kart DLC, the new DLC is finally out, so we can talk about that. The long-awaited DLC.
Yeah.
And apparently, all the tracks for Wave 3 have leaked already. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Oh, damn.
I've heard about it. Yeah, my one friend was like, you guys want to know the leaks for the tracks? I'm like, is it leaks to see things that were already I don't know. So...
Yeah, you guys want to know about the tracks that already existed that are going to be added back into the game as a updated version?
Well, me neither. The thing is, they keep on sneaking in like just random tracks.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk about that. I mean, we can talk about it right now, I guess, since we're already. That's one of the things we got to talk about. So, because like this one, it has 7 old courses, and then just 5 old courses. 2 tour courses. I don't count them as old because we've never really had them in like the console Mario Karts before. And then that fucking random Sunday one, which I hate. I hate that level the most.
Really?
It's my least favorite Mario Kart course.
All right.
Not of all time, but in this game probably. I don't like it. It's random. Like I don't know where the track is going sometimes. Like there's a couple spots where you're coming up to like an apex and like you jump off. But you don't know where the track is below you. And then you just like jump off the edge. And this is dumb. I don't like it. I mean, it looks pretty. I don't think it's a fun course at all. That said, because what are the new ones? The turnip and the propeller, I think? Whichever one has Waluigi pinball in it is like the best. The best like set.
That one is, yeah.
Oh, here it is right here. It's the New York Minute, Mario Kart Circuit 3, or Mario Circuit 3 from the SNES, Calamari Desert from the N64, and Waluigi Pinball. Fuck yes. Like, those are all, like, just chef's kiss courses. I love them all.
Those are very good.
Yeah, fantastic.
I've been waiting for Waluigi Pinball forever.
Waluigi Pinball, I think, is the actual best Mario Kart course.
Yeah.
If we were to go just to juxtapose. Sky High Sunday might be the worst.
You mean like period ever, or just in this list so far?
It's on my like top most hated courses right now.
No, I mean for more Luigi.
Waluigi Pinball is like top of all time. Like go.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Like it is honestly one of the best Mario Kart courses that has ever been created, and I will firmly stand behind that. And it's got not only does it have an awesome course that's full of fun and whimsy. With its pinball design, it also has one of the best soundtracks of any of the Mario Kart courses.
I mean, I don't disagree at all. I'm gonna be basic bitch for a second. I gotta go with Coconut Mall over.
Coconut Mall's on my top list.
Like it's incredible.
Yeah, Coconut Mall top tier. Waluigi Pinball the best. So. Yeah, no.
Okay.
I mean, Coconut Mall also has fantastic music. And that's
absolutely. Yeah,
top tier.
Yeah.
So I don't disagree with that choice at all. And honestly, you're not even wrong for that choice. Like that is a very sound choice. I would not fault anyone for saying Coconut Mall.
It's a really good. I mean, there's something. Okay, I don't know if it's just me, but there's something about mall stages in video games that are just so good.
Coconut Mall and Tony Hawk Pro Skater Mall.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater Mall. Think of like the entirety of Dead Rising, the original one that's in a mall. You know, just things like that. I just really like that. I think it's the fact that it's like there's so many different stores and everything, and like a mall is something that like you're very acquainted with just in general. You know.
Yeah. And it's a nice variety there, which I think is great. So you can just be like, oh, you know, whatever. This is what it is. But
exactly, there's a lot of variety to it.
Yeah, because you could have anything you want.
Yeah.
You can have like Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah, exactly. And you do in like Dead Rising. That's where you like go to get like golf clubs and stuff like that, and to fight the zombies with. I don't know. I just like those kind of elements in games, like a place that has a lot of stuff, or like a level that feels like it has a lot to it. I feel like every level that is a mall, you can look at that level and be like, "There's a lot to this level." Like you may even like for instance the Tony Hawk level that's a mall. Like you may be going through that very quickly and everything, but when you like stop to like look at the individual parts, there's just so much going on there that really makes it come together. I don't know.
I love it when you go to like the top floor and there's like those little stores you can drive through. It's like like it's just very clever. Yeah,
exactly. Malls and video games. Top malls and video games. It's just we'll have an entire game debate about that.
I mean, you almost could. Really,
I actually do think you could.
Or just video games and malls, because then you can tie in the whole like, video game stores that are in malls, arcades.
Yeah,
like all the fun stuff.
That's another thing. I love any video game that actually has like an arcade in it, and then like sometimes the games are actually playable, and like you have like those arcade games inside the game you already had, and that sort of, or just arcade cabinets inside of games that you're already playing. Because like, damn, I'm just going super off topic here. Sorry. One of my favorite arcade games was just playing Geometry Wars inside of Project Gotham Racing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That was just so much fun, and I like when people do add those little touches to their games. All right, moving on.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I think those new levels I thought were like all pretty fun. I do it. It's so fun that there's just DLC for games fucking 10 years old. I don't know why. It's exciting. But anyways, do you guys want to know what they found out for the third wave?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So there's 2 new Mario Kart Tour levels. One of them's still unknown, but one of them is going to be Berlin Byways.
Okay.
You have Peach Gardens from the DS, Waluigi Stadium from the GameCube, either Boo Lake or Broken Pier from the Game Boy Advance. They're not sure which one. And the reason for this, the reason they're not sure is, so just so you guys know how they found the leak for this. So what they did was, usually, they did a data mine, and Nintendo did a very good job of sweeping through and removing a lot of data that was unnecessary. However, the one thing that they left were these little like preload sound files that play. It's 1 second of music for the course, just to give the game just enough time to load the rest of the music out of wherever. And they left those in, but they've been able to figure out
crazy.
They've been able to figure out what tracks they are from this 1 second of music.
I heard a 1 second sound file. It's clearly this stage. That's insane.
That's why they're wild. Like either Boo Lake or Broken Pier, because they're not sure which one based on that 1 second. But the other ones they're pretty sure. The other ones are Merry Mountain. I don't know what that is from. It doesn't say on this list. Alpine Pass from the 3DS, and then Rainbow Road from the 3DS.
That's nuts. That's actually nuts.
Yeah. So there you be.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I look forward to checking that out. I think I'm finally gonna, like, in the future. You know what? Well, I think in the future I'm probably gonna do the subscription to Nintendo, because they just keep adding more and more shit to it at this point, to the point where it's like, you've almost got me, and then it's like they add another thing, and I'm like, getting closer.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that you don't have the Nintendo thing.
Yeah, I don't have it, but I want it. If I was smart, I would have used that to segue into the thing that I have, but you've still got more stuff to talk about, so continue.
Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I don't know. Did you guys have any other thoughts on Mario Kart first before?
I'm just happy Waluigi Pinball's back. That's all.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, no, it is. And I'm really excited. Listen, I love these tracks. It's just kind of nice having new tracks for Mario Kart. I think it's a great idea that they did this. And it is a nice benefit for the expansion pass. Does it still make it worth it? I don't know. That's up to you. But it's a fun thing to have. So, anyways, moving on. What do I want to talk about next? I guess we'll stay in Nintendo land.
Okay.
So I started Xenoblade 3 finally. Since I had a chance. I say finally. It hasn't been out since we recorded. So, but now it is out, and I have had a chance to play it. And I haven't got a ton of time into it. I say that, but I'm probably somewhere in like the 8 to 10 hour mark right now.
Okay.
But it's still it's interesting because I really am enjoying it so far. I'll start there. There's a lot of neat stuff going on. I like what they did with the battle system. I think that's fun. So I do enjoy what I have played so far on that aspect of it. It looks a lot nicer, I think. I don't know if it's like a change to the graphics somehow. I do know, like we talked about the last time recorded, Digital Foundry did go through and does say that it is technically does run better and on a lot of different ways than Xenoblade 2 does. So that could be some of it too, but I think some of it just like the art style they went with. I think it looks nice. It just kind of blends in together very well. I played it in handheld and on the TV. I haven't had noticed any frame rate issues, honestly, on the TV. A couple stutters on handheld, but nothing crazy. And it's usually not at a point where you would care anyways, but it is an RPG, so it's not like there's a lot of points where you really care anyways. Because it's not like you have to have like rapid fire twitch fingers. So there's that. They made a bunch of changes to the gameplay because you're not just playing as one character anymore. You can switch to all of them on the fly. So that's kind of nice. Like if you're in the middle of battle and you're like, I want to take over the healer, they fucking suck, which they don't. They usually do a pretty good job, but you can do that if you really want to. And each character has different classes that they can like play through. They can kind of switch character classes between each of them. So it's like, this person started as like a defender. You have kind of like three main types. Like you have attackers and healers and defenders, and then they have all like these different like subclass like classes into them rather. And how they fight. And you can switch between them and they kind of mix things up pretty well. And I think they're all pretty interesting. Like I don't think I've found one that was bad. Like it's interesting because even playing as a healer is kind of fun. Like just with these group of people. Because it plays like a pseudo MMORPG kind of thing. World stuff, identical to what you remember from the other Xenoblade games if you ever played them. Those big open expanses with a variety of enemies, ranging in different levels. And, you have those big ones that are like super aggro sometimes, or, it all depends on what you're going through. And like, can I sneak by and get to this thing over here? Or no, there's tons of secret areas to find and explore. That stuff's all intact. So that's really cool. And then the other big thing too is like, I don't know where the fuck this story's going. So far it's been pretty not crazy, but shit's about to hit the fan. Like there's just enough of a tease that shit's about to hit the fan, but it just hasn't pulled the trigger yet. Like you're like, something is just not right. So, and Xenoblade has always been good at like having some sort of like plot twist in there. So I'm sure it's coming. I mean, the first one had a pretty significant one that came in about halfway through the game. The second one had a pretty significant one that came in. The Xenoblade Chronicles X had a pretty significant one that showed up as a cliffhanger in the finale. So fuck you, Xenoblade Chronicles X. But this one, like I can just tell it's about to happen anytime, and I'm sure it's gonna just keep getting crazier and crazier as time goes on. So, because there's just so much weird stuff, and I just can't quite put my finger on it. Like stuff is so, I don't even know how to describe it. Like there's stuff that seems so close to things from the other game, but not quite story-wise. So I'm sure it comes together somehow, but I don't know. Because the interesting thing with this game is, like, so you have Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and they take place in, like, alternate dimensions or universes. I don't know which one. And they happen simultaneously at the same time. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a direct sequel to both games. So...
wait.
Yeah,
wait, how?
Exactly. because it takes place after both of them, and it's directly influenced by the events of both games.
But it's in both universes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep. Don't know how. Can't tell you yet. Not sure.
Honestly,
Maybe.
that seems really interesting to me.
Yeah, it does seem really interesting, and I would love to tell you about it if I knew what it was.
Okay.
But I have not gotten to that point yet. Like I said, there's enough weird shit that I'm just kind of like, this is weird because this reminds me a lot of this from this game and this from this game. But I just can't quite put my finger on it yet because they're not being like they're giving you tidbits of it, but they're not coming out and telling you.
All right. So is it like? Does it seem like it's going to go the very obvious direction where it's like, oh, hi, I'm alternate version of blank. Oh, yes, I am alternate world version of blank also. That sort of thing. Have you got any, like, inkling of that sort of thing happen where, like, you're, like, talking to someone in the game and you're like, wait a minute, hold on a second. That person's probably going to end up being this person, and so on and so forth. Do you have any of those feelings yet from what you've played?
No, not directly.
Okay.
There's one person that you see bits and pieces of that I believe is a prominent character from the first two games.
Okay.
But I've not seen enough of them to confirm or deny at this point.
Because the way you were describing it, especially with it's a sequel to both games, makes me feel like this is like essentially going to be a thing where it's like this is
like
the
alternate universe.
Yeah.
There is one character that you meet that seems very directly related to another character.
Okay.
Is it an alternate universe character? Don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
But they share the same name. Not the full same name. Like the same last name.
Okay.
Is it descendant? Is it a relative? Is it the same person? Don't know. Not sure.
Okay.
So
that sounds.
And I'm pretty sure they even use the same voice actor. Yeah. So it is. It is very interesting. Like I said, can't put my finger on it, but I don't know. The story setup is kind of Nintendo did that like really misleading thing, too, where they're like, hey, it's a story of two factions of war, and they want to kill each other. Yeah, that lasts for like 30 seconds. Like,
that was very obvious.
Yeah,
like in all the media, that was very obvious that was a setup, and is like, nah.
I was like, that's not what the trailers told me. And like, it even goes out of its way to introduce like a battle system that's used for maybe 30 minutes, and then it's just completely fucked off. So it's weird. Like, it's just like they want to set up this twist.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell that they're getting ready to do it, and they want to be very masterful with it. And I will say, so far they have. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat playing this game. So yeah, I mean, I've really been enjoying it so far, and I'm very captivated to keep playing. I do like how they've done some other things too, like some of like the quest stuff. Like they do a lot of it a bit more like subtly. There's so many systems that I could talk about in this game that I can't even think of them all off the top of my head. But it just seems like they took all the stuff that they've been building off of from each game, and it's like, here it all is, and we made it even better. Like, I don't really have any complaints about this game versus, say, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like, oh, I wish they did it like
cool.
this. Yeah. Like, they got rid of the gacha system. That's gone. Like, you just have, like, different characters. Like, they replaced it with the class system, more or less. But any character can learn any class.
Okay.
Whether or not they'll be good at it is another question. But they can all learn them. So, if you want your main character to be just a healer, they can be just a healer. I think he's decent at some of them. Like, it's interesting. It's really interesting. But it's so deep. Like, you really can't go into everything that's there, just because it's a lot. But I will say, even at this 8 to 10 hour point that I'm at, it's still fucking giving me tutorials. Actually, that's anything I want to say. Like, it does. It is pretty aggressive with its tutorials.
That's a big problem I have with these games. I feel like all of them have done that.
Well, I think the complaint that a lot of people had with Xenoblade
like
Chronicles 2 was that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would like drop a new system on you, like a new battle system, and it wouldn't explain it at all. And it's like,
oh yeah. For that one, I meant like.
And so I think they took the feedback for that one. They're like, oh, you didn't know about this system? Let me put a full stop in there to explain it to you. And it's like, okay. And it even does that thing where it's just like, all right, now press the X button to open the menu, and be like, oh my fucking god. Like, just tell me how to do it. I don't need a walkthrough. I'm like, I can figure this out. I understand why it's there. Like I said, there's some people that I guess do really need it, and there is a lot of shit going on in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the stuff, like, let me show you how to equip your gear. Like, it's if you played an RPG, it's so fucking basic.
Yeah.
I don't know. At least give maybe people the
for
option.
the start menu.
Yeah, exactly. I just don't. But yeah, I do really enjoy it so far. The music so far it's been solid. I guess it's got the same composers as like Xenoblade 1 and 2, which they both had stellar music. Although there's nothing in this soundtrack that I've heard thus far that's really like blown my mind like the first two.
Okay.
Does it mean it's not there? No, I barely scratched the surface of this game. And a lot of the best music in the last two games came in the second half of the game anyways. So I'm sure there's something there. Like, the music that they have there is great so far, but I'm just like, there's nothing I would pull out. Like, this would be a game if we were talking Game of the Year music. I'd be like, great music, but I don't think I can pull out a single banger for you. Yeah, if that makes sense. Like, the music's all good.
Somewhat.
The music's all great, but it's not like there's any single track that stands out. And it's not, I don't know how to, like I said, they're all just good. They're good music, but it's just not like great music. Like, nothing really stands out track-wise. But I don't know. I think that's all I have for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, unless you guys have any questions.
No,
I'm sure we'll be talking about it again next week. So, all right. Next thing, Uncharted, the movie. I watched it. It's on Netflix. Did you guys know this?
I did not know this.
Yeah, I don't know when they put it up on Netflix. It must have just come out. But yeah, so it's on Netflix now. So if you have Netflix, you can watch it for free. For the cost of your Netflix membership.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Because DJ really wanted to watch it. I'm like, oh, you want to watch the video game movie? So this is a video game movie? I was like, yes, yes, it is. It is a video game movie. I mean, I know the movie sucks. I don't think it's bad. It's literally like, they went so far out of their way to make it like the game. It's like watching the cutscenes from the game, except you don't play it.
It's one of those movies, because when you watch a video game movie, you got like one or two. One that just goes way too far, or one that sticks with everything so much so that it's just, why am I watching this?
I don't think it's that close. Like, so like they do like the what are the big moments called, like the cinematic pieces or whatever. Like, they do like some of those, and it still has like Tom, what's his name, jumping around like crazy from like crates that just don't make any sense. Like, DJ was even like, people can't jump like that. I'm like, yeah, that's how he jumps in the video game. Like, it's like that scene like where he's like hanging from like the crates on the back of the plane. I'm pretty sure they straight up stole that from one of the Uncharted games. I can't remember.
That's from Uncharted 3.
Okay. Yeah, because I was like, I'm pretty sure they stole it straight out of there.
They did.
There's some other things that they did though that are brand new, like that I thought were pretty cool. I think it's fun. I think if you like Uncharted, you'll probably like it. I think they do enough that it stays true to the franchise. Would those be my top choices to play those characters? No, probably not. I think they did an okay job with what they needed to do though. I think it hits the right. I do think it really kind of nails the right atmosphere for Uncharted, though. Like, I think it had like a pretty solid like script for it. But at the end of the day, like, it's like they took that and made it into a movie, and so like it's basically video game script movie. It's like I said, it's fun. I think if you like Uncharted, I think you'll enjoy it. I think if you go in there not expecting like fucking Oscar nominee video game movie, you'll probably have a good time with it. I thought it was fun. I didn't really have any complaints with it. I thought the showcase pieces that they did, I thought were a lot of fun. I thought the humor was on point with what they had in there. It's just, like I said, it's a fun popcorn movie, and if you don't have to pay anything extra to see it, because if you already have a Netflix subscription, like, yeah, definitely. Like, I think you'll enjoy it. So,
okay.
And I think I do kind of really like what they did at the end. Like, they did come up with like a very Uncharted set piece that was not from the move, like the games. And I thought that was kind of rad. And then my last thing was, so last week I was in Boston, as you guys know.
Yeah.
So there's just kind of like, I just want to talk about some of the video game stuff that was there.
All right.
So, what are some of the
Well,
video game
talk
things that we
about
did?
it.
I am. Boston A has a surprising amount of like arcade bars. So we did go to one. It was Versus, I believe is what it was called. It was kind of cool actually. If you sat at the bar, like they're just like they had a bunch of screens set up, and you could just pick up a controller and just play whatever. Like there's no extra like cost or anything. Like, and so DJ and I ended up playing the first stage of the new Turtles game.
Oh, okay.
Which was great. Actually, the gameplay is fantastic. And DJ's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, just fucking mash buttons and kill things. Like, that's all you got to do. Like, there's don't overthink it. Like,
yeah, that's pretty much what you got to do.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite games this year. The game's so good.
I really enjoyed it, actually. I had a great time with it. My only thing holding me back from buying is how you guys said how short it was. That's the only thing. I wouldn't pay full price for a game that short.
Although I do find that fair. I feel like it's the kind of game where you can return to it many times, even with how short it is, and as such, you get your money's worth. For instance, I mean, I played like 30 hours, even though it only takes like a bit to finish it, because I played it with different characters, because different characters do have different abilities and that sort of thing, and you want to level them up, and you want to be able to, especially if you want to go for like a completionist sort of thing, which you don't have to do, but it's just neat to play different characters and see how they feel. Like have one person play one and you play the other one, and so on and so forth, and your progress carries over in between game sessions. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's worth the price, honestly, because it's like what, $24.99? Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. Like that. Yeah, I think it's 100% worth that price. I think arcade games are a lot harder to be like, yeah, I can beat this in 2 hours, because like, yeah, you could beat a fighting game in 2 hours if you're just playing like the single player aspect of it, and like, then what's the point? So I don't know. I think it's harder sometimes to be like, I don't know if this is worth the money or not.
I think for me, I know I would beat it and I wouldn't go back to it right away.
Okay.
So like I wouldn't get that value there. Mm-hmm. That's my big holdback for it. I mean, it's a game I would probably pay for, like, if it was $24.99, I'd be totally happy paying like $15 for it. Like, I'm not saying like like I want to pay like $5 for this game.
No, I understand.
I would just like, if it's $25, and I think you said it was what, like between 2 and 4 hours long.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a harder
first playthrough, depending on how like good you are, essentially. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like I really enjoyed it though. I would play it, and anyways, so this arcade had like those things set up, and I thought it was pretty. And they had like just different arcade machines and like skee ball, and I don't know if it was this particular night or in general, but they just kind of like just gave you free access to everything. Like you paid a cover to get in, like a $5 cover, and then you could just play whatever you want as much as you want.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which is really nice, especially compared to the arcade bar that we have here in Rochester, which you have to pay for everything, and it's still like normal arcade prices, where it's like, hey, Mario Kart costs $1 to play. So there's that. And then they had like, it was weird because they had like this menu, and the menu was kind of decent, but like some of the things were like video game themed, but then some of them were, and then some of them didn't make any sense, because they would be like, I think one was like Birdo bathtub. Yes, that's what it was. And it was like a bathtub filled with like some sort of like pink alcohol liquid mess. And I'm like, okay, I get it. It's Birdo pink and it is a bathtub. So that's cool. I can get how you can get from A to B there. But then like the fries were like Zelda fries. It'd be like,
you didn't even try, guys.
Nope, you didn't even try. Like there's nothing there. And then like and the random thing with the fries were the only one that had like a video game name. Like the food selection was the only thing that was like food, like video game food. Zelda fries. Everything else was just like tater tots. I feel like, okay,
gamer tots.
Gamer tots.
Why are these specifically Zelda? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't order them, so I can't tell you.
Maybe she really likes the fries.
I guess so. Maybe, or maybe it's like Zelda Williams and she like loves the fries.
Yeah.
Not sure. But yeah, I mean the bar was pretty nice. It was. Yeah, my only thing with it was kind of weird. I don't know how often you guys go to bars. And we were there like so the bar closed at 11, and we were there like I think at like 9:30 or whatever. But you could tell like 10 o'clock that they really just wanted us to GTFO. And it's like you guys are still open for another hour. At like 10:30 they played a song that was like, I don't remember what the song was called because I already forgot, but it basically, like, the lyrics of the songs were like, get the fuck out. Like, they weren't even being subtle about it.
That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, they were nice about it, but they were just very direct. Like, basically, like, get the fuck out. And like, you're open till 11. Like, calm down.
Not anymore.
Yeah. So, and even like I ordered my drink, like, and they serve like until they close. And like when I ordered my drink at like 10:30, they're like, we don't have any more ice. Like, oh, okay, whatever.
We have no more ice. Oh well, I guess I just
sounds like you gotta go to the store then, dickhead.
Yeah. Or maybe you shouldn't have dumped it out. Yeah, so whatever. I was like, whatever.
Maybe you guys should do better at your job then.
But anyway, the bar was nice, and it had some really cool decor.
Okay.
I had actually also Zelda themed. Speaking of Zelda fries, we went to the science museum there, and they put on this like electric show, and as part of the electric show, like they use electricity to bounce it on these wires in the room and play music, and they played the Legend of Zelda theme on it.
That's sick.
Cool. Yeah.
That is actually cool.
I can't even describe how it sounds. Like, it doesn't sound like any instrument you can imagine. Like, it's really wild. Yeah. Like, it's almost like synthesizer, but real, if that makes any sense.
No, not really, but it's fine. I understand essentially what you're getting at, but
yeah, it's like 80s synth, except real. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sure there's videos on YouTube that you could look up. I probably could find it actually and see, but yeah. So that was it. And then the other realization that I had with Boston, and Boston's a really cool city. I know now that you guys have been there because we talked about it, but I realized something while I was walking around the city, and I'm surprised that it like. I mean, I'm not surprised. I've never thought about this before, but it was very apparent to me when I was walking around, and I was like, Boston is Columbia. Like, I don't know why I never thought of it before as a possibility. Like, they had to have based it off of something, and like it's not exactly,
right.
But it's not exactly, but it is like you could tell the elements that they pulled. Like they definitely were like, and that's where Irrational Games is. Like, they're in Boston, and it's like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Like, I always kind of thought of it as like, oh, Columbia, and it is to some degree. It is very much like, hey, here's an amalgamation of like, like the quintessential American city, kind of. But it's like you could tell walking around Boston, they just took so much references from it. I don't know if you guys saw any of my Instagram pics, but there's a couple that I know I put in there, and I was just like, this building looks like it was ripped straight out of BioShock Infinite. Like, just some of the designs that they do, some of the different things that are there, like it very much is. And I think even too, like, if you think about like the themes like of like religion or something, like Massachusetts was like a Puritan colony, like originally. So like they basically persecuted anyone there that was like against their religion, like even slightly. Which is kind of why you ended up with the witch trials in Salem, which we also went to.
I see.
But yeah, no, it's really interesting walking around the city, and because even too, like Boston, it's basically one of the focal points of the Revolutionary War. So you do see a lot of those kind of like historic monuments, and like idolization of like the founding fathers, just like a lot like you did in BioShock Infinite as well. Because you remember, like they George Washington was a hero. Like they had him in like basically treat him as like a Greek god in that game. And you do kind of see a bunch of that like around the city. There is no like Devil Lincoln though. You don't see any of that. None of the Satan Lincolns in Boston. But just some of the shops and just some of the different buildings there is like they definitely had to have inspired like how they built this game. Like even like the walkways, like some of the walkways in the back city, like there's still like those like brick kind of like old school streets and everything, like narrow streets, and then you have like some
like cobblestone type streets.
Yeah, some of them, like I would say, would be because I mean, some of them are just the original ones that they were.
We have we have some of those by me.
Yeah, we have a few of those too. We have some downtown.
Yeah, hey, that's what it's. I think it's interesting too, just especially because I mean, we all live in the East Coast, so like we have like some of the older parts of the country like around us. But Boston, Massachusetts was like Salem, for example, has been around since like the 1600s. Like that was kind of like hard to wrap my head around sometimes. Although I do have to say the most disturbing thing that I saw while I was on this trip was, do you guys, I don't know, we'll quiz you on your history lessons. What was it? The Boston Massacre. Do you guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's like a spot on the ground in front of like the town hall or whatever it was where it happened. And it's just like, it's a big plaque and it's like the Boston Massacre, just kind of points it out and the day it happened or whatever.
Okay.
It was a very popular selfie spot. Like people, like families were taking pictures together on it.
Interesting.
Like people were taking selfies. I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, hey guys, a lot of people died here.
all I can think of is just like people doing selfies and like never mind.
Like funerals.
I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say a gas chamber.
No, but like it is.
It just seems so weird. Like what the fuck?
It's very bizarre. It is very bizarre.
Yeah,
you have no respect whatsoever. Like what?
Because like I even thought about it too when you had posted the pictures of like the Salem witch trials. I was like, he's being respectful about it. But like in general, like I bet you people are going to like where these poor women were like falsely accused of witchcraft and just like brutally murdered, right? And they're just like gramming it.
Well, that was my thing too when I was talking to DJ about it, because I'm like, what's really fucked up? Like, so, because the witch trials, at the end of the day, had nothing to do with witches.
No.
But Salem is all about like witch tourism right now. Like that's all. It's like it's a tourist spot centered around witches. So I'm like, someone in the last 100 years had to have the fucked up idea, be like, how are we gonna get people to come to Salem? Let's sell witches, which is why these people got killed. There were never witches there, obviously.
Yeah.
But let's just let's take the fact that our town was run into a frenzy by two prepubescent girls for a year and a half and turn it into a marketing scheme for witches.
And it worked.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the other interesting thing too that I did not know, actually. So Salem at the time, in the 1600s, there was Salem Town and Salem Village. And I'm trying to remember how it broke down. Like Salem Town, I think was like where like the part, like the court or whatever was, and then there was Salem Village, which is where everyone lived, and like where people were actually hung and everything.
Okay.
Salem Village is now known as Dansver. Dansver? Something like that.
Okay.
They changed their name. But that's where everything happened. Like that's where like the actual like we went there, like you can actually visit one of the homesteads of one of the victims and like see and like actually like get to see what they lived, get to see what the land was like. They're preserving as like a historic monument, just to kind of like show people what life was like at that time. Very respectful. You can see the actual like foundation of the house where the parish family lived. That is there. You can see like they set up a really nice memorial for all the victims in the park across the street from where the original like town hall was. You know how many people were there? About 0. We were the only ones.
What the
you know where everyone was? In Salem, going to like these like tourist museums that were like wax figures and like haunted houses and yeah, I was just like, this is kind of sad. Like the historical stuff nobody's going to, everyone's feeding into like the tourist nonsense. So
yeah, that's pretty awful.
Yeah, but it is really interesting. Like if you want to go to Salem, like I would say like, Salem itself is nice. Like, spend a day there. There is some interesting things to see and do there.
Mm-hmm.
But then, spend at least a little bit to go out to Dancever and see the other stuff that's out there too. It's all pretty close together. You can walk to a couple of the places and then just take a car to the last one. So just don't be like DJ and lose your credit card. My credit card.
What?
As we're walking around. That was fun.
How the fuck?
It was like our last day. But we paid for the tickets for the homestead, and then he put my card into like the brochure instead of back into his wallet.
Oh.
And then he pulled it out to like fan himself with it, and it disappeared. So
you ever find it?
No, we didn't.
Oh my god!
There were no charges on it, so it's not like, and we just canceled. It was our last day there, so we just had the bank issue a new one.
It disappeared. It flew into a fucking sewer system somewhere.
My thing is, I think because it's Rebecca Nurse's homestead. She was one of the victims. I think she has my credit card now, and she is doing whatever penance she needs to with it. I guess maybe she's buying herself the subscription to Netflix. I don't know. So
probably,
because what else does she have to do? 300 years later. So, but yeah, no, I mean that was it. Like we had a great time in Boston. It's a really walkable city. So if you're ever just looking for somewhere, enjoyable to go, there's a lot of history there. As I said, it's pretty wild to see because there's not a lot of places in this country you can be like, this building is 300 years old. Like we just don't have stuff like that here. So it's pretty wild. Like, oh, George Washington stood on this balcony. That's kind of cool. So yeah, that's my trip. I had a great time. I don't know. Did you guys have any questions? I know we kind of talked about a lot of stuff in this.
No, not really.
Oh, and the other BioShock thing, by the way, at the museum, I forgot to use this as a segue. At the electric thing, the woman running the show, she stood inside a bird cage. BioShock.
Oh. You do realize that also Fallout 4 takes place in Boston, right?
I didn't say I'm not saying that BioShock is the only game.
There are literal buildings that exist in that game that are in real life.
I'm just saying, I just played BioShock Infinite, and you could see that BioShock Infinite took a lot of inspiration from Boston.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot. Listen, it's almost uncanny how close some of the things are. And even too, just like the signage and stuff. Like it's almost identical. So I don't know. Like I said, it was just some pretty cool stuff. As on my Instagram, I picked out a couple pictures. I know there's a couple pictures that were in there. I was like, oh, this reminds me of BioShock. But yeah. That's all I got, though. I think I looked at my list. Yeah, that's it. Unless you guys have any questions.
None in particular.
Okay. Well, whoever wants to go next, be my guest.
I'm trying to see something real quick. What I'm trying to see is how much Nick has compared to me.
Well, you both have Live Alive. Nick already talked about Mario Kart.
Yeah, we do both have
Live so Nick, you talk about Live Alive, and then we can go from you two into me, because I have a lot of other stuff
perfect.
to talk about.
So I played one of the stories of Live Alive so far, and I started another one, but I played one to completion. So it's like, I don't know if they really, I can't remember if they advertise this or not, like when showing the game off, but it's like multiple stories in one game, and I'm not exactly sure if they ever converge.
I don't think they do. I don't think they do at all. They don't make that really known that they don't converge in the trailer, but they did show this story that both you and I played from this game so far, and it's also the reason why I got this game in the first place.
So the first story, every story takes place in different places in time. So it's like past, prehistory, future, current day, whatever. The first one I did was present day, and basically present day one is just you're a aspiring championship. I guess I don't want to say wrestler. He's not really a wrestler. It's more like just fighting, just championship fighting.
So he starts out as a wrestler, and then he goes to other fighting companies essentially, and then he just becomes a fighter in general.
The story is basically you just fighting like 5 different people, to try and climb this ladder of notoriety. And during each match, whatever person hits you, you absorb whatever attack they used on you.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that element of it.
So somebody used an attack on you, you absorbed it, and then it kind of becomes Pokemon, because the next person you fight could be weak to whatever attack you learned.
Yeah, and if you didn't get the attack from the last guy, then you kind of shit out of luck.
Yeah. So like the best thing to do is when you're playing this campaign is like don't if you have whoever you're fighting's weakness already, let them just get some hits in on you.
Yep.
So you can learn some attacks. And that's what I did. And
it's the same thing I did.
I think I cleared it in like 30 minutes. It wasn't a very long
yeah, that was essentially the same for me. I feel like this is going to be one of those like 6-hour games maybe at most. Yeah. But that's okay because well, I mean at least from this story, it was nicely packaged and it was fun. Like what they had there was great.
It's a complete story. Like you know, even though if it's very like one note of like, hey, this is what I want to be, and then like you get through fighting the people that you gotta fight, and then there's like 2 more people you gotta fight.
Yeah.
But that's
I like the ending too. It was the kind of ending that I was like, oh, okay, cool. I like that.
The ending was fine. Like I said, it's just interesting. Just cause like it was very I don't know, I just wasn't expecting it to be as short as it was, but I mean like whatever.
Yeah, me neither. I was thinking it was gonna be a lot longer, and like when the credits rolled for that first story, I was like, wait a minute.
So far I would say that the price of admission is not there. Because I think this is what, $50, $40?
Is this a $60 game?
No, it's not full price.
Okay, I think it's $50 then.
I'm actually bringing this with me. I'm going to a convention this weekend. I'll be bringing this game with me and just kind of playing it in my downtime. Just because I feel like I can probably beat most of this weekend.
Yeah, this is a $50 game, which I don't think this is worth $50.
No, not at this point.
I think the quality's there. I think the like actual remaster quality and the like graphics, like I mean, then again, I think all the games that have been made in this graphic style, be it Triangle Strategy or Octopath, they all look great. Like they just look great. So I like that element of it, but that's really easy to do because it seems like it's just an engine thing at this point.
Which is fine. Like they prove that the engine works.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. So far, like I don't hate what I've played so far, but I also am just like, all right, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too. I wanted more of that story in particular, and I was like, oh, are they all gonna be this short? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Right. But I also have that bad feeling in the back of my head that like that's going to be one of the ones that we actually wanted to be longer, and one of the ones that we're like, oh god, this is dragging on, is going to be one of the ones that's like 2-3 hours long.
I feel like all of the stories, I feel like this game as a whole is going to be like bad, not because of the stories, but because like everything's going to just kind of stop before it gets good.
Yeah, I kind of have that same feeling.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna continue to play. I went to prehistory next. And that one's been.
I don't know which one I'm gonna choose next, but you know what? I'm gonna join you. I'll go to prehistory. That seems like fun.
I'll see how long that one takes
next week. How about we just do one each week?
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
Yeah, we could do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. That's what I've played. That was been new so far. I'm like I said, I'm going to a convention this weekend. I'm very excited for. I'll be in Virginia this weekend for Super Smash Con.
Ooh, Virginia.
I haven't. Okay. I don't like that you said it like that. I haven't been to this one in 3 years because they haven't had it in 3 years. For obvious reasons. So I'll be returning to that this weekend, and I'm very excited to, 1, have an extended vacation, 2, kind of go back. This will be like one of my first major conventions back. So I'm like double pumped for it. So that'll be fun. But yeah. Haven't really played much of anything else. I'm still kind of like playing around with Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
This we'll talk more about Pokemon Go, I guess, in the news portion. But I'm excited about some of the things they showed off for it. So, but Brandon, you can go because
all right, yeah, let's go into what I've done. So yeah, we just got out of the way the bit of talking points about Live Alive, which I think it's good. I think it's good so far, but I'm gonna see how I feel in the long run. I think I've picked up on a lot more of the wrestling and like video game fighting game aspects of the characters you fought in the professional wrestlers story than maybe you did. I'm not 100%. If you picked up on some of the other like elements of it, because like each character was like very clearly based off of either a different person who's into some kind of battle sport or is a wrestler. But that's neither here nor there. Moving on from that, I've been playing the shit out of Everybody's Golf. So I found out recently. Nick, have you ever heard of a game called Hot Shots Golf?
Yeah.
Did you know Everybody's Golf is just a sequel to Hot Shots Golf?
Is it really?
Yes, it's actually. So essentially, they, for some reason, I'm not sure what it was, due to licensing, couldn't use the name Hot Shots. So they used the Japanese name and the European name of Hot Shots Golf, which is Everybody's Golf.
Oh.
So that's what that is. So I was like, when I found that out, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm definitely going to play this. And I also found out, oh, the servers are shutting down at the end of September, which sucks because a decent chunk of this game has to do with online play. And the online play is very interesting and different. To give you a small example, as you progress in the single player, you unlock the ability to drive a golf cart, and you also unlock the ability to go fishing. So you've got a golf cart element in the game where every day in the game, a hole 5, for instance, on course 3, hole 5 on course 3 will have like random drops on it, which are like items that allow you to level up your character, items that give you money that you could spend in the shop to buy clothing items and that sort of thing, or other things such as themed golf balls. And that's all really fucking cool and super interesting. So it kind of sucks that that element of the game will be taken away very soon, because you can just like jump into a golf course, get in your golf cart once you have it unlocked, and then drive to the hole that you want to play. And then like you'll have like a list of players that have recently played it, and if anyone's online on that server, they'll also be there with their like character that they've created, and you guys can both like play the golf course simultaneously right there next to each other and that sort of deal. And that in that respect, super cool and interesting game. And then there's the flip side of it, which is the single player is also like very deep and a lot of fun. They teach you about like what golf balls do what and how different courses work, and they kind of are teaching you how to play the game just in general as you go further and further. You're supposed to gain enough rank to go up to the next rank. So you start at like 0, then you go to 1. Well, you start at 1, then you go to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And as you go up the rank, it gets harder and harder. And each time you go into the like course sign up, you have like 2 different choices. And it might be like, all right, so for rank 1, you can play a 9 hole or an 18 hole. And it's random. And that allows you to like try to beat your score, try to like perfect things, and if you get your rank up, you also level up your clubs, which levels up your strength and how far you can hit it, because you've been training by just golfing in general, so that allows you to be able to put your strength behind it and hit the ball further as you go along in the game. And honestly, there's a lot to it that has like a pseudo golf RPG sort of thing, and everything that's in this game is what I wanted from the Mario Golf game. Literally everything that's in this is what I wanted from the Mario Golf game. So if you're like, man, that Mario Golf game on Switch sure did suck dick, you should play Everybody's Golf, because it's a shit ton of fun. So yeah. Yeah. But if you do want to like finish the entire game, like 100% it, at the end of September, it will be impossible to do that. So there's that. So keep that in mind as well. Because you have to fish and catch all of the fish, which only takes a few hours, but you have to level up your fishing rod all the way to be able to use the different bait, and then you have to fight one of the secret golfers in a one-on-one match, and once you beat him, then he will give you the higher end bait, which allows you to catch the legendary fish that are like 10 stars and stuff like that. And since all of those can only be caught on online courses where the fishing spots exist, once the online goes down, the servers go down, no one really knows right now what's going to happen, but everyone assumes that that's not going to be an achievement you can get any longer. So that's something to keep in mind. Moving right on, let's talk about something I did end up getting, because we were talking about Nintendo and its online and stuff earlier. I got PlayStation Premium, and I'll tell you the good and I'll tell you the bad.
What about the ugly? Can you tell us the ugly too?
Yeah, I'll tell you the ugly. The ugly is the fucking UI. The UI for accessing any given game between PlayStation Premium and PlayStation Extra, it's so convoluted and it's so like just disjointed that you're better off going on to a browser on your internet and going to a website called Push Square and looking at their interactive thing of every game that's in each individual tier, because Sony sure as fuck doesn't tell you it after you've bought it. And some of these games aren't even in the shop. You have to actually type them into the search bar and search them. So that's a big fucking mess, and I don't like that.
But their UI has always sucked.
Yeah,
it's really bad this time, because like when you go into the PlayStation Plus area and you scroll down, it then has game catalog. You click game catalog and it starts showing the game catalog for PS Plus Extra. It's like, okay, but what about the stuff that I get for premium? It seems like the only thing it wants to show you for premium is the trials of games that you can play and the classic catalog. And not even the entire classic catalog is in here. There's an extra game in the classic catalog that's listed nowhere on the store, and you just have to search it and know that it exists. Otherwise, you can't play it. It's very shit.
Sounds very fun.
Yeah, it's actually garbage. Now, let me go ahead and give my thoughts on this. So, I have played a few different things from this since I've got it. I've downloaded some of the PlayStation Extra games, which Extra is the tier below Premium. I've downloaded some of the PlayStation 1 games and the PSP games, and I've played some of the streaming PlayStation 3 games. So I can put all of this into perspective, basically. Alright, first things first. I haven't done any of the trials because I pretty much own all the games anyway, so I don't give a shit, and I don't feel like a big install is worth my time for 2 hours of gameplay. So that's something that's kind of like, eh. Now, there's other games on here, because it seems like each individual game in the trial gives you different amounts of gameplay. I didn't know this, and again, I found this out through the Push Square's website, which gave me all this information. So different games give you different trial periods. So like Biomutant, 2 hours, Crusader Kings 3 hours, Cyberpunk 2077, PS5 and PS4 version, 5 hours, Elix 2 hours, Farming Simulator 2022, 3 hours, Horizon Forbidden West, 5 hours, Hot Wheels Unleashed, 2 hours, Lego City Undercover, 2 hours, MLB The Show, 4 hours, MotoGP 2022, 2 hours, MX vs. ATV Legends, 2 hours, Ollie Ollie World, 1 hour, Spellforce 3 Reinforced, 2 hours, The Cruel King and the Great Hero, 2 hours, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, 2 hours, Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, 2 hours, and WWE 2K 2022, 2 hours. Some of these make sense. Games like Horizon Forbidden West giving you 5 hours to decide, I want to play, I actually like this game or not. Or Cyberpunk giving you 5 hours to make that decision. some of these make no sense whatsoever, because you think of like open world games and you're thinking like Cyberpunk 2077, you're thinking like Horizon Forbidden West, but then you look on here and you also have Lego City Undercover and you only get 2 hours in that. So it almost feels like there's no rhyme or reason for why the trial times are the times that they are set to. And like even looking at other games like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, you got cutscenes, you got the tutorial, you've got getting your character set up. 2 hours is not enough time to go through and find out if you like that game. That is, I firmly believe that 2 hours is not enough time to find out if you like that game and what it's doing. Because it does not introduce everything it has to introduce to you in 2 hours. And there are plenty of elements of that game that you might outright hate that get introduced to you at like the 4 hour mark or the 5 hour mark. I feel like that game definitely should have been like a 5 hour trial at least. And then Ollie Ollie World is like the outlier. Because, yeah, it's an indie game, but also they said every game would have a 2 hour trial, and it's only 1 hour, so what the fuck's going on there? It's just another of the many lies that I've found with this service. And that is where I am going to start my feelings on this service as a whole. Do I think Premium is still a ripoff? Absolutely. I don't think Premium is worth your time in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Do I think Extra is a ripoff? No, I actually think the game catalog for PS4 backwards compatible games and whatnot is incredibly good in the Extras catalog. Now, I am being a little bit biased because I do own most of the games that come with the premium stuff, aside from the PSP and PlayStation 1 games. Of that, the PlayStation 1 games, they just feel weird, and I need to play more of them to see if it's just like 1 or 2 games or if it's like the entire catalog. But they feel off. I've emulated PlayStation 1 games, and I've emulated them in a way that's like supposed to be close to the initial product, because there are emulators that allow you to do that, so you can get like perfect quality, so it feels like the original PlayStation 1 games. You're not adding like 60 FPS patches or any of that shit. It's got the same slowdowns, it's got the same gameplay as you would on an actual PS1. And this doesn't feel like that. Like, at all. This feels more like the added patches and speed ups that you would have in emulators to make games run faster or different. Specifically with the Hot Shots Golf PlayStation 1 game that is on the premium tier. I didn't like it. It didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. I'm going to try out like Mr. Driller and Ape Escape a little bit later, but the one that I have tried, not very good. Not very good at all. Because of the shitty nature of how this storefront is set up, I haven't got to play any of the PSP games because, to be completely honest, I didn't know they existed until I looked up online. And then when you look past that, you look at the other stuff that Premium gives you, and it gives you remaster games. And when you look at those remaster games, you have things like The Last of Us Remastered. Not Part 1, but the original remaster of The Last of Us. Or God of War 3 Remastered. Or Crisis Remastered, or Heavy Rain, or Metro Redux, or Bioshock Remastered, or so on and so forth. A lot of these remastered games that you see on this list, though, have already been in PlayStation Plus in the past. So a lot of these games that are on this list, you will already have. Like, easily. I think even if you just like have been subscribed like the last 3 years or so, you will have a big chunk of the list of games that are remaster games that are part of the premium subscription. A few of the standout titles that I think you won't have are Loco Roco 1 and 2, Lumines, or Luminous?
Luminous?
Yeah, Luminous, sorry. Luminous and Patapon 1 and 2. I don't think you'll have those 4 games. And I do think those are very, very good games that are worth playing. You also have I don't know if they gave out the Wipeout Omega collection at one point. I do own it, so I'm not 100% sure.
Did.
Okay, but like the other games in this list are things like Gravity Rush Remastered, Beyond Two Souls, Resident Evil, Bulletstorm, Mafia 1, 2, Bioshock Infinite, the complete collection, Kingdom Malamar Reckoning, Darksiders. You know, the kind of things that you think of when you hear the word remaster, essentially. The like, oh, everyone has this game already, sort of remasters. And I think that's those being added to the premium collection. It's not really good. It's not really good in my opinion. I see some lists, like some games here. Hey, hold on a second. See, now I'm seeing something that says this is a PS4 title, but I don't see it on the shop. So if I go up here and I go to type it in, and I type in Guilty Gear, and then Xrd, so like it's like one of the older Guilty Gears even. And then what's the rest of it? Revelator?
Yeah, probably Revelator.
Yeah, like I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. Okay, that one's only for that one's not for my region. Okay, that's another thing. that's another thing. Different regions have different games, so it gets kind of confusing when you look at list as well. So that kind of sucks. But like we have Strider, dude. Strider was like given away at every moment in time that it existed. So what do you have left? You've got PlayStation 3 games. You've got PlayStation 3 games that stream via cloud streaming as part of your premium thing. And this is interesting, actually. You're not gonna believe this, but Nick, I believe in the past I've talked about how shit PlayStation Now was, just in general. It wasn't very good. So I have tried whatever this new cloud streaming that they're using is on 2 different games. I tried it on Tokyo Jungle, which is a very weird game if you've ever heard of it.
I played it on the PS3, I think.
It was a cool game.
Yeah, and I tried it on, again, Hot Shots Golf, the one that was on PlayStation 3. I've kind of been on a golf game kick lately. I don't know why. I just kind of felt like it. So, I played both of those games, and there was like a very... What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say there was no input lag, because there is, obviously. But it was very minimal compared to what we have dealt with in the past. I don't know if they have upgraded these servers. I don't know if it's just the 2 games I chose. I just don't know. But the streaming was really good. Very surprisingly. I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it, because I've played these games streaming before, and they were shit, to like put it lightly. And they didn't feel shit this time. So I would say that's a plus. That's a lot of games you have to play, but it's probably going to be a your mileage may vary sort of thing. I don't know. But you know what? Since it's just streaming, I'm gonna check right now, very quickly, on a very specific game that I hope they have on this list. And if they don't, I'll be very, very sad. Do they have Motorstorm? Because Motorstorm is fucking sick.
Oh, yeah, Motorstorm's a shit.
And I want to see if they have Motorstorm.
I'd be surprised if they have Motorstorm.
You'll be surprised if they have it, or if they don't have it.
If they do have it.
They have Motorstorm Apocalypse.
Oh, well, that works.
So they have one of them. It is currently preparing game. I'm gonna just run through like a little bit, like while I'm here with you guys, and let you know my thoughts on this one. See how it feels. So when I played the other 2 games, I will denote that I had my controller plugged directly into my PS5. I don't know if that makes a difference. So I'm going to plug my controller directly into my PS5 just in case. Because I'm curious. So when you click the streaming games and start streaming one, it actually sets it up. It does this setup process that takes a few seconds. and then it flips it over to whatever your system is set to. So like right now, I'm actually set to 1440p because I got that beta. So now it says that the game is running in 1440p for me. However, very weirdly, I'm just staring at a logo. So I wonder what's going on there. I wonder if they're just like, holy shit, someone actually started up MotorStorm. What do we do?
Apocalypse, no less.
Apocalypse is fine. I would much rather have had like the original. Apocalypse is fine.
That's what I'm saying. But for some reason, they're very adverse to the first one. I don't know why.
I don't know. Maybe that's something I need to look into. Was it done by a different company? Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I'll tell you this: I've started up the game, and just like the original MotorStorm, the opening cutscene had screen tearing, and that is fucking hilarious to me.
Oh yeah.
It's actually asking me to fill out the online thing, so maybe the online works through this? That wants to know my screen size. It doesn't matter. I'm just gonna go through this. Sure. Completing special events every week for fame and glory. Interesting. Alright, so I'm just gonna go into a classic free play, quick mode, that sort of thing. So far, just traveling through the menus, it felt fine. It didn't feel like it was lagging between my button presses. It just felt like your normal streaming quality, like a GeForce Now sort of thing with a controller. Game starting. I have now pulled the trigger. I'm holding it. And I'm moving left and right, and it's actually feels kind of okay. Yeah, for a racing game, it is responding to me fast enough that, yeah, holding the X button does the boost very quickly and everything. Okay, yeah, this feels fine. I don't have any real complaints about it. It feels totally fine. It's the amount of input is like the input lag is very minimal in my opinion. I could totally play this game like this and it'd be fine. So yeah, I guess they did something to their servers for the PlayStation 3 streaming, and it just kind of works. So that means you have a lot of games, like a lot of back compat games, and some of the games are probably a lot easier for streaming than others. Like probably JRPGs, that's probably like nothing. Like that would probably be something that would be very easy for someone to play streaming. You probably wouldn't even notice any of the input shit because of the fact that, hey, I'm just playing a JRPG now. So whatever. Precise inputs don't really matter. Yeah, I would recommend the streaming aspect of it. It might be one of the better ones, to be completely honest. Between this and GeForce Now and xCloud, it's kind of tough on which one's better. But they definitely have made a competitor, at least on the directly streaming games side of things. So that's good. That's a good mark for them. So if you want to stream PlayStation 3 games and like don't really care that much about a minuscule amount of input lag, there you go. This is a way you can do it. But I will go back to my original point, which would be if you don't care about PSP, PS2, or remaster games, which you probably already have all of them in your library, Extra is a much better deal. And the games that are in the list of games that are on Extra is just so much better. To the point where like you look at things like, for fuck's sake, the entirety of Final Fantasy VII Remake, including its DLC, is in PS Plus Extra, and that's really good. That's a really good value there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and that's the PS5 version and the PS4 version. So I think Extra is really good because it comes with things such as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Control, Death Stranding Director's Cut, Demon Souls, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, Ghost Runner, which is an incredible game that people should definitely check out. And Extra even comes with Stray. So one of the games that might end up being a lot of people's game of the year for this year is part of Extra, and it released day and day. And then you got Returnal on here also. When you look at the quality and and quantity with extra versus premium, you're definitely paying for the streaming aspect of premium as well as those PSP and PS1 games. And I don't think the PS1 games emulate very well. And then they kind of hide the PSP games. So at that point, what's the point when you only have like 4 of them anyway? And like I think you have 10, maybe 15 PS1 games. And the rest are those like PS2 games that you've always seen. So the Jack and Dexter 1 through 3 and the racing game, Wild Arms 3, Primal, War of the Monsters, Red Faction 2, the Star Wars Bounty Hunter games, Dark Cloud 1 and 2, Okage, Siren. The normal games that you see when it's like, oh, the PS2 back compat games, the only PS2 back compat games that existed on here is what you get. And when you look at all of that as a whole, Extra is just a way better product, and I actually do think Extra is worth the money as opposed to Premium, which I think is kind of trash. So there you go.
There you go.
I do like it. I did play some good games though. I played the Medieval remake
Oh, I forgot
through
about
this.
that.
It is very good. Like it is incredibly good. I hadn't even picked this one up yet. So surprisingly, this was one of the ones I didn't have, and it's awesome. It's definitely worth your time if you haven't played it and you grew up with the original Medieval game. Highly, highly, highly recommend that one. So there you go. That's
There
it.
you go.
That's my thoughts.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Also, I will say, if you have just any PS Plus, this month's game is Yakuza Like a Dragon, and that game is fucking incredible, and everyone should play it. So if you have PS Plus, go get Yakuza Like a Dragon, Little Nightmares, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1+2. It is such a good month for PlayStation Plus this month that it is, frankly, probably the best we've had in years. There you go. That's it. That's me.
All
I'm
right.
done.
Fine. You guys ready to move on to news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, news time. we got?
News. Pokemon.
We got Pokemon.
We have Pokemon.
They did a Pokemon Presents on my birthday.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I only watched the back half. But the back half I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I
haven't
mostly watched only the back half also. I mean,
Nick,
they
what was
added
the
some
exciting
new
game in the
stuff
front
to
half?
the, what do you call it? God, why can't I think of it?
Pokemon Unite.
Yeah.
No, the cooking one.
Oh, Cafe Remix.
Oh,
Yeah, there we go. They add some new stuff to that, and Unite as well. And they announced that Unite is going to be part of the like Pokemon tournament thing they have every year.
Yeah, Unite and Go, actually.
Yeah, Unite and Go are both having tournament scenes this year.
It's pretty cool.
yeah. Well, because I think they finally got rid of Pokken. I think they took that out.
No, Pokemon's still there.
Poken's still in the World Champions? I
Pokemon
thought
is
they took
still
it out.
in. Nope, still there.
Oh, well then.
It is there. Yep. Yeah. Nick is right. It is still there.
Or maybe they took it out of some aspect of it.
Oh wow.
That's what I was thinking of. So there was like a 3 thing, and I thought Pokken was one of them. I don't know. I don't remember. But anyways, yeah. Nick, why don't you talk about, I don't know, the Go and Unite stuff that you're excited about, and we'll talk about Violet and Scarlet.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that they were adding the Pokemon Go stuff and the Pokemon Go to the tournament circuit stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
That's
And
really
then
cool.
the Pokemon, like all the days across the world, that was really cool too. But no, I was mostly excited about like them being like professional stuff. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I still pick up Go from time to time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be doing actually that this weekend because I'll be in Virginia and I'll be like, ooh, what's different down here?
I know, that's what I always do when I travel. Like, I played it a lot when I was in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
I was going around. And it's another nice thing is, too, it kind of points you out to, like, things that you might miss. Be like, oh, right, there's this cool mural over here, or statue, or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I always like, go for that kind of stuff. And they've been doing a pretty good job keeping it lively. I feel like every time I don't play it for a while and pick it up, they're like, hey, here's all this new shit that you missed out on. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah. Anything exciting for Unite, aside from the tournament stuff?
Oh, I don't really play or pay attention to Unite much anymore.
Not anymore.
But they're adding some like new Pokemon to it.
Right.
But you know,
Are they adding Pooper into it?
Pooper? No, Pooper's not in it.
Pointing. Okay, so we'll talk about Scarlet and Violet stuff then. They're adding Pooper to the game. Yeah. I don't know. It's a regional form of Wooper, but just brown. uh, I don't know. Makes me laugh. But they did have some other stuff that was in there too. That was pretty interesting. I'm trying to remember what all they showed. I mean, they finally showed off using the legendary as a vehicle.
Yeah,
That was there.
the
They
one with
showed off,
wheels walks, even though he has wheels.
yeah, which makes no sense, but whatever.
They also
Um,
showed off Fido.
which I love. I think that's my favorite name for Pokemon because it's like it's Fido, but it's
Yeah, yeah,
Fidoutu.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that I think is great. They showed off some ice Pokemon, which looked boring. Trying to remember what else they talked about because they did that whole like treasure hunt thing.
Well, they were
That,
just explaining the beginning story parts to Scarlet and Violet, Jesus, and they're just like, "Oh, you're
I,
going on a treasure hunt," and like they didn't really like give much of any information.
no, they did. I mean, they showed off a lot of new things, but it's again they just really didn't show off a lot at the same time too. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I mean, we know more things, but we also just kind of just still really haven't seen how this game plays. I mean, Brad had said that there was an interview where they talk about it being very traditional Pokemon, which I mean, I think that's what most people are expecting.
Mhm.
But I still have hopes and dreams of a Arceus, at least some of the Arceus quality of life stuff,
Yeah,
I think you're gonna have to wait for the next Arceus game for that one, my friend.
or at least wait for the next Pokemon game and see if they end up taking some of the feedback from Arceus and from this game and kind of merging them together. Because I do think they could hit a middle ground. I don't think it's horrible to say. Honestly, like if I see a wild Pokemon, all I do is throw a Pokeball at them anyways. Like I very rarely battle them. Like if it's one I want to catch, it's be like Ultra Ball, Ultra Ball, Ultra Ball. Like just let me do it like real time. Like why do I have to stop and press a button every time? Nobody knows. I'm trying to think. Did they have any other? I mean, the trailer was really good. I don't remember what else there was that stood out. Oh, there's that whole like Terra thing.
Terra. Yeah, you got like flying Pikachu.
Yeah, because each Pokemon can have like a Terra form. I think that's what it was. I think it was Terra form, where it just gives them like
Like
they
it was like Terralize or whatever the fuck. It was something
yeah
like
they
weird.
terralize,
Yeah.
and then depending on their Terra form, depends on like what extra like type they are. So if they're like, but it's like if they're a grass Pokemon and they have like a grass Terra form, then their like grass stuff gets super strong. But then you can have like weird ones where it's like Pikachu, but they can have like flying, and then you can have like a flying Pikachu, and they have special flying super moves or whatever. And it sounds like each Pokemon can have different. It's not like it's a set form for each of them. So like there might be like electric Pikachu's, but there might be flying Pikachu's. It all depends on what you get, and like the more rare forms will be in like the raid battles because they're bringing them in with like the Terra stuff this time. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was really excited about it. I'm pretty hyped. I think it looks great. I really don't have any complaints about it. I also don't think there's anything else to say about it. I can't remember. Do you guys remember anything else about Pokemon?
Not
No,
really.
we still didn't get the evolved forms of the starters. So like, okay.
I know. I guess the big drama was I guess someone pointed out I guess Fuecoco's genderless.
What?
What?
Well, you know, Pokemon they're like usually male or female.
Oh well,
But you
yeah.
do have some Pokemon like the legendaries or like Ditto or whoever. Like they're just genderless. They don't have
Yeah.
like a set gender. I guess Fuecoco is genderless.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't really do anything for me, but I'm
Yeah,
sure.
let's say it doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see what the fuck is going on. I'm confused. I don't understand how that's even a thing.
What do you mean?
Like, why would anyone care?
Well, for
I mean,
breeding,
I'm about to say yeah. For some people, yeah, it matters.
Okay.
because if you like with breeding, like male and female Pokemon, like easy. But if they're genderless, usually it means you have to pair them up with like a Ditto. I think. I don't know. I don't know. I just breed everything with Dittos. That's how I do it. I'm not very adventurous with breeding. I'm just like I don't.
Interesting.
Yeah. Maybe you can just put two Fuecocos in there. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works. Like maybe it just doesn't matter which ones are which. I don't know.
It's just fine with everything.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're a Pokemon breeder, then go to town. So I don't know. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really.
Not particularly.
Ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to us tonight. Don't forget to find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check out our website, game-crunch.com, for the latest episodes. If you want to reach out to us, we're on Facebook, Twitter. You can send us an email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Nick,
Hello.
any final thoughts?
Pokemon the Arceus Chronicles is coming to Netflix September 23rd.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, there you go.
I don't know if that's a movie
I don't know, but it's
or
my
a big
final thought.
episode. Yeah, we'll find out.
Could be a music video.
Could be a movie.
Stop motion.
I hope
It's
it
just a
is the
visual novel.
It's just the complete Poke Rap with all 1,000 Pokemon.
It's puppets,
God.
actually. It's puppets.
Brandon, any final thoughts?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Well, with that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online on Clash Penguin on Twitter or your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game.
Game on. Can you guys hear me? Did I get dropped? Was that them?
No, I can hear you. Mic dropped.
Oh, fuck. Mic dropped. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know what happened. That was very random.
That is random. It's probably because someone started playing MotorStorm Apocalypse in 2022.
Well, it's
Streaming.
Apocalypse.